Ever pondered on the concept of being too nice? Is there even such a thing? You might be surprised to learn that there's a fine line between being genuinely kind and tumbling into the realm of being too nice. It's a fascinating conundrum, one we're about to unravel in this exploration of the world of niceness. So what does it mean to be too nice? Picture the nice guy syndrome. It's a term often used to refer to individuals who go to great lengths, even to their own detriment, to please others. These are the people who steer clear of any form of conflict, always putting others' needs before their own. They're the ones constantly seeking external validation, craving that pat on the back, the approving nod, the reassuring "good job." But here's the catch. While it might seem like a virtue to be the nice guy or the nice girl, this habit of being too nice often comes at a cost. It's like being stuck in a paradox where your efforts to keep everyone happy end up making you unhappy. You become a people pleaser, a conflict avoider, a yes man or yes woman. And while it might feel good in the moment, it's a path that leads to a place where your own needs, wants and desires are constantly overshadowed by those of others. It's not about being a doormat or letting people walk all over you. It's about losing sight of your own self-worth and boundaries in your quest to be the nice one. It's about sacrificing your own happiness and well-being in the name of being pleasant and agreeable. And that's the crux of the nice guy syndrome. It's a predicament that many of us find ourselves in, often without even realizing it. We're so caught up in the cycle of being too nice that we fail to see the toll it's taking on us. Quite a predicament, isn't it? Let's delve deeper into how this affects your relationships. Imagine a seesaw, one side overloaded. That's the imbalance too nice creates in relationships. Picture it, there you are, constantly bending over backward, filling up one side of the scale with efforts, sacrifices and goodwill, while the other side remains alarmingly light. It's a precarious situation, and like any overloaded seesaw, it's bound to come crashing down sooner or later. Let's delve deeper into this imbalance and how it manifests in relationships. First up, there's the issue of unreciprocated effort. You're pouring your heart and soul into your relationships, giving it everything you've got, but what do you get in return? Minimal effort, if any. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole at the bottom. No matter how much you put in, it never seems to be enough. The result? Emotional exhaustion. And that's no way to sustain a relationship, is it? Then there's the respect, or rather the lack of it. When you're too nice, people may start to take you for granted. They might even push your boundaries, knowing you'll bend and not break. It's a slippery slope, my friends, and it's a journey that often ends in resentment and bitterness. Finally, we cannot forget the communication conundrum. When you're too scared of rocking the boat, you might hold back on expressing your thoughts and feelings. But remember, open and honest conversations are the lifeblood of any healthy relationship. Without them, misunderstandings fester, issues go unresolved, and before you know it, you're adrift on a sea of confusion. So the story isn't as sweet as it seems. Being too nice can lead to unreciprocated efforts, lack of respect, and communication issues. But hey, don't lose heart just yet, because as we're about to discover, the Stoics have some fascinating insights to share on this matter. So the story isn't as sweet as it seems, but what do the Stoics have to say about this? The Stoics, those ancient philosophers, had quite a bit to say about virtue and balance. They believed in a life of virtue, a life that doesn't enslave itself to the whims and fancies of others, but one that's autonomous and dignified. And yes, they acknowledged the importance of kindness and fairness. However, they also emphasized inner strength and resilience, the kind that keeps you from becoming a doormat in your quest to be nice. When we examine the Stoic teachings, we notice that being too nice often stems from an imbalance of virtues. You see, in the Stoic world, a virtuous life is not just about being kind and fair to others. It's also about being just and respectful towards yourself. It's about asserting your own worth and not allowing it to be trampled by others' expectations. The Stoics also introduced us to the concept of resilience. They taught us that we shouldn't allow external events or others' opinions to disturb our inner peace. Now, this doesn't mean we should be unkind or unfair. On the contrary, it means we should maintain our calm even when facing situations that test our patience or challenge our values. It's about having that inner strength to say no when we need to without feeling guilty or fearing disapproval. Moreover, Stoicism challenges us to practice courage. It pushes us to have those difficult conversations, to voice our opinions, and to set healthy boundaries. Yes, it might feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to avoiding conflict, but remember, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to act despite the fear. So, the Stoic perspective on being too nice is quite enlightening. It nudges us to realize that virtue isn't just about being kind to others, but also about being kind to ourselves. It reminds us to be resilient and not let outside influences disturb our inner calm. And it encourages us to be courageous, to voice our concerns, and to stand up for ourselves. So it's not about shunning kindness, but about inner strength and resilience. But how do we find that balance? Balance, the golden middle way. It's easier said than done, isn't it? Now, we're going to delve into some strategies for finding that elusive balance between being kind and not letting it infringe on your own well-being. First off, let's talk about setting boundaries. Yes, it might feel like you're being unkind or selfish, but remember, boundaries are like walls around a city. They protect you from external forces that may disrupt your peace. So, how do you set boundaries? Start by identifying what drains you, what feels like too much. From there, you can start to build boundaries around these areas. Remember, it's okay to say no sometimes. Next up is prioritizing self-care. Often, people who are too nice neglect their own needs, and that's not healthy. Self-care isn't just about spa days or bubble baths. It's about taking care of your mental, emotional, and physical health. It's about doing things that nourish you, that make you feel good. So whether it's taking a walk in nature, reading a good book, or simply taking time to breathe, make sure you're carving out time for yourself. Now let's talk about fostering open communication. Remember how being too nice can lead to communication conundrums? Well, the antidote to that is to cultivate honesty and openness in your interactions. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to avoiding conflict, but over time it gets easier. Start by expressing your feelings and thoughts in a calm and respectful manner. Make your needs known. You'd be surprised how much smoother things can go when you're clear and direct. So, there you have it. Setting boundaries, prioritizing self-care, and fostering open communication are the pillars of finding balance. It's a journey, not a destination. You're bound to stumble and fall, but that's okay. It's through these experiences that we learn and grow. And remember, being kind doesn't mean neglecting yourself. The key is to strike a balance. Be kind, but don't let it be at the expense of your own well-being. So being too nice can indeed be a stumbling block, but it's not insurmountable. When we venture into the territory of being too nice, we're often prioritizing others over ourselves, and this imbalance can lead to unreciprocated effort, lack of respect for our boundaries, and communication conundrums. In our relationships, whether they're friendships or romantic partnerships, it's important to remember that a seesaw works best when it's balanced. Pouring your heart and soul into a relationship without getting much in return can be emotionally draining. And when we constantly avoid confrontation for fear of displeasing others, we risk missing out on the open and honest conversations that nourish our relationships. But there's a solution to this too nice predicament, and we find it in the wisdom of the Stoics. They remind us that virtue is not just about being kind and fair to others, but also about treating ourselves with the same consideration. So, while being caring and considerate is a virtue, so is having the inner strength and resilience to assert our needs and maintain our inner peace. Stoicism nudges us to embrace resilience, not to become unkind, but to ensure that we don't let external events or opinions disturb our tranquility. It encourages us to practice courage in having those difficult conversations and setting healthy boundaries, even when it feels uncomfortable. So, how do we navigate this conundrum of being too nice? The key lies in finding that sweet spot, the balance between being kind to others and being kind to ourselves. It's about treating others well, but not at the expense of our own well-being. It's about recognizing that our needs matter too, and that it's okay to assert them. So remember, while being too nice can indeed be a stumbling block, the solution isn't to abandon kindness. Instead, it's about finding that balance, that sweet spot where we treat others well, but also treat ourselves with the same compassion. Remember, it's not about giving up kindness, it's about treating yourself with the same compassion. Until next time, stay balanced, stay